100,000 Ottoman soldiers, one Hungarian castle. What happened? This is Szigetvár. Let's find out.
You probably never heard of Szigetvár. Not a capital, not a tourist magnet, just another name on the map. You don't stumble into Szigetvár. You arrive slowly, one road in, one story out. It's quiet here, too quiet for a place with such a loud past.
When walking here in Szigetvár, you feel like there was tons of history. The past is huge, but somehow the town is in the middle of a midlife crisis.
Today, Szigetvár is home to just under 9,000 people, a quiet town in Baranya County, nestled between forests, fields and fading train lines.
One thing for sure, they make very good ice cream here in Szigetvár. That's always needed in these hot days. Imagine, we are only in June and it's 30 degrees. It's crazy. We can't talk about Szigetvár without mentioning Zrínyi Miklós, this guy who's pointing over there. Why?
In Szigetvár, the name Zrínyi is everywhere. A street, a statue, a school, a square. Not just a name here, it's a shadow. Every corner whispers it. The man who stayed when others would have run. A myth carved into stone and syllables. Zrínyi will always live in Szigetvár.
On a personal note, I really like this inner downtown area of Szigetvár. It resembles history. You have all these cobbled streets, beautiful Austro-Hungarian buildings, and it's very down to earth. It feels like historically it have been a major town of Baranya, but also now it's in the middle. It's again. Now it's in the middle of being like a major, semi-major town here in Baranya. You have excellent clothing shops. You have good restaurants, many restaurants for a town of this size, and it's very beautiful and very well kept in the inner town.
Zrínyi tér is where Szigetvár exhales, a modest square with heavy history, but no performance. There's a cafe on the corner where the same faces return every morning. The coffee's strong, the conversation's stronger. And lately something's stirring up. A new cafe opens, then another. Szigetvár might live in the past, but it's starting to cook for the future. The church stands quietly nearby, but it wasn't always a church. It used to be a mosque.
Here's the church on the main tear of Szigetvár. It was built in 1589, renovated a few times. Think about how much this church have been seeing if it could talk. If these walls could talk, what would this church say? In this main church, it used to be a mosque, a jami, but then later turned into a templum. And that just states the history of this town here in Baranya, that the Ottoman influence has been very big.
Today, Szigetvár can offer quite a lot for everyone who visited.
One thing I value very highly in Hungary is the... Hey, see you. You know me?
Yes.
From where?
From the internet.
From the internet?
Yeah, hi.
Hello, Sia. I'm making a video about
Make a video.
Szigetvár.
Hi.
Hi. How is life in Szigetvár?
Life in Szigetvár is a chill life, but very beautiful. We are hope so. Everything is more
Yugi.
intensive a little bit. Yeah, but it's okay.
How many years have you lived in Szigetvár?
All in my life, 36.
And has it changed a lot?
Yes, I'm in the last 10 years in Austria, working in Austria, but now I'm coming back. That's a chill small town, but it's okay. Everybody loves it.
Hello guys. Hello. Here I have some local kids from Szigetvár. And what did you do today? You have ice cream?
Yeah, we were in school.
It's good ice cream?
Yeah, it is.
How is life in Szigetvár?
It's boring. Yeah.
But what do you do here? What's the favorite thing?
Going out to the city. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have football here in Szigetvár too?
Yeah. We have
It's a good team? No.
They said it's boring, and maybe it is, if you're looking for malls, neon or noise. But boredom can be kind of a freedom, a space to think, a place to grow without constant distraction.
The big struggle of Szigetvár is the lack of jobs here. Most people, they either work in agriculture or they drive their way to Page to get jobs at offices, etc. But I think this town could expand with the right mindset. This town has everything, but I just had a talk with quite a few locals. Quite a few German people live here in Szigetvár. Some Dutch, of course, that's the Dutch invasion. And also, lots of people are moving here from smaller towns in Baranya because it feels more like a town where you have different options.
Here time moves like the river, slowly but with purpose. You just have to float with it long enough to feel it.
So let's just talk about the geography of Szigetvár. It's very, very close to Page. We have Page around 30 minutes away. And it's also on the railway to Barj, which is on the Croatian border.
Nearly 100,000 Ottoman soldiers surrounded this town. Inside the fortress, just over 2,000.
What I'm standing in front of here is hundreds of years of history. This is the Zrínyi Castle.
It was 1566. Szigetvár, a mud-walled fortress in the middle of a swamp, hardly the center of the world. But for one long, brutal summer, it was the world. At least for 2,300 Hungarians and Croats and around 90,000 Ottoman soldiers with orders to crush them.
So let's get to it. Why is the town of Szigetvár called Szigetvár? Very interestingly, their name Szigetvár is Sziget, which is an island, and Vár, which is a castle or more like a fortress. And actually, if you look this area where the castle is today, the Zrínyi Castle, it's on a little hill, what you could also call an island. So it's the fortress on the hill. That's Szigetvár.
On one side, Suleiman the Magnificent, ruler of half the known world, aged, sick, but still hungry for one last conquest.
I don't know about this horse, but it looks like it just spotted an Ottoman invader. Maybe it did.
And on the other side, we have Miklos Zrínyi, a soldier, poet, a nobleman, and a man who knew how to die well. For weeks they held, outnumbered, starving, and soaked in blood and smoke. They patched the walls with corpses, buried friends in the garden, ate horses, then rats, then nothing, and still they didn't break. And when the walls finally fell, Zrínyi didn't beg, he didn't run. He put on his best clothes, opened the gates, and led his men in a final charge into the fire. And somewhere just beyond the battlefield, Suleiman himself died.
Once the Ottomans conquered Szigetvár, they built a mosque here. In the start it was built out of wood, but then later bricks. And once Hungary got it back in the liberation wars, they used it as a granary. And later on it became like a hero's quarter. So let's go inside.
The fortress fell, but the legend rose, and the Ottomans stayed. They rebuilt what they have destroyed. They raised a mosque, planted gardens, brought baths, silence, and a different rhythm.
No one is here, and somehow it still feels very religious. You know, when you get into a church, a mosque, synagogue, you always not speak too loud, and it gives the same feeling even hundreds of years after. And wow, it's beautiful. You see, history was here. You see the loud history of Szigetvár.
Today there is a very interesting exhibition where you can find all the remainings of this forgotten time. And you can also buy some nice merchandise, which I did. Szigetvár became a borderland, not just of empires, but of memory. And though the minarets are gone, their shadows still stretch across the stone.
One thing I know about the Ottomans and the Turks, they love their roses and their rose gardens. And I can't help but wonder if all these roses that are planted in the whole castle, if it has something to do with the Ottomans.
Those ruins here, they are a piece of art and destruction at the same time. Maybe that explains the Ottoman Empire. The amount of information you can find in this museum is intense. I spent at least 1.5 hours walking around this beautiful, well-kept museum. And yeah, now I want my own castle.
Here we have the captain's cellar, where in old history tradition, there used to be golden hen down here who would lay golden eggs. And if you got one of those eggs, you would get rich for life. I mean, I would like to find a golden egg, but I would probably eat it because I'm too hungry right now.
The walls of Szigetvár have seen empires rise and rot. They have held fire, blood, silence, and time.
To even enhance the Turkish roots here in Szigetvár, there's also a hammam here, a thermal bath. So I know it was built later, but that's just a little extra fact about this town.
After some times, the Habsburgs took it back. It became a quiet military post, then a market town, and in the 20th century it shifted again.
Beside the castle, they also have this huge nature, relax, chill, I don't know, some kind of park here with a little cafe, some small lakes, and it's just very cool here, very chill. I like Szigetvár.
Factories, collective farms, and red stars. History didn't pass by Szigetvár. It rolled right through it with 120 kilometers per hour. Today Szigetvár lives very slow. No rush, no noise, just the rhythm of everyday survival.
Again, I have to say it, some of the buildings here in Szigetvár are out of this world. Here we have very beautiful Art Nouveau styled buildings that was actually from the Biedermann family. So if you watched my little video I did about Szigetvár, this beautiful castle and area, most of this was by a guy named Biedermann who did a lot of stuff here in this region of Hungary. But wow, these buildings and more statues of Zrínyi Miklós.
Some places shout their story. Szigetvár whispers it. You have to walk to hear it and listen between the silence. They still serve Hungarian food, even though it was under Ottoman rule, and therefore I had to try the most famous Hungarian dish, marha pörkölt.
So like in all Hungarian towns, you have to try some Hungarian food. And I always go with marha pörkölt, which is a beef stew. A lot of foreigners think it's squash, but this is a stew and not a soup. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So this restaurant, Florian Vendiglu, is based on this guy, Florian the firefighter from the Roman times. And yeah, you see many things have been here in Szigetvár. Romans, Ottomans, Hungarians, Soviets, and Hungarians. So, historic place.
They say Suleiman the Magnificent died right here, the Sultan of an empire, brought down by time and illness during the siege.
The great Sultan Suleiman of the Ottoman Empire died here in Szigetvár due to illness during the siege of Szigetvár. And therefore he was buried not so far away. Actually, a very famous artist was to take care of his grave and guard it. So a crypt guard. And today, this whole area where he was buried is now a beautiful memorial and a friendship place from the Hungarians and the Turkish.
They buried his heart in the ground and his pride on paper in a small town called Turbék. This town was later destroyed by the Habsburgs to erase all memory of the Ottoman era. This park is now a testament to the friendship of Hungary and Turkey.
In many ways, I think this shows how deeply rooted Szigetvár and most of Hungary is in this long battle against the Ottomans and how the influence still stands so strong so many hundreds of years later.
Szigetvár didn't survive because it had to. It survived because it refused not to give up. A small town, a big stand, a memory still marching.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video about Szigetvár, leave a like, comment where I should go next, and give a subscribe to the channel. It would help a lot. Take care, everybody.